Hello. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky. The weather in Kentucky today will be up to 75 degrees, mainly sunny. Highs in the mid-70s and lows in the mid-40s. Currently, the temperature is around 43 degrees and feels like 43 degrees. National Hurricane Center watching Oscar closely. You know, this is hurricane season and hurricanes are continuing to develop. A tropical storm Oscar slams Cuba with torrential rain and life-threatening flooding after moving through the Bahamas. Sunrise today was at 7:53 a.m. It's a little bit after 8 a.m. EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. Sunset will be at 6:51 p.m. today. Wind 0 miles per hour. The AQI is moderate at 65 and pollen is moderate. As I said, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. We're watching the show. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So the items that I have in the news for you today, coming off of the weekend, please excuse me for not mentioning here in Lexington. There was the Halloween parade, the Thriller parade, and I had a reason to be out and about, and the streets were blocked accordingly for that event. So some of the bus routes were redirected around that area. If you had to adjust your schedule over the weekend, that was the reason here in Lexington. Other cities were probably participating as they were able, saw fit, and planned to. So in the news, coming out of the weekend, Juan Soto's 3-run homer in the 10th sends Yankees past Guardians 5-2 and into the World Series for the 41st time. Next one, states approve legal marijuana despite containing dangerous mold. And this is according to the Wall Street Journal. Details. The journal's analysts looked at more than 2 million mold testing results from 9 states and found a disproportionate number of products containing dangerous molds, which can make you sick or even kill you, are being cleared for sale. So this is like on a comparison basis. If they are doing 4 samples and one of them comes up tainted, then that's like a 25% adverse thing. If they're doing 10 and 2 come up, then that's 20% as an explanation of how these numbers apply. Since most states that have legalized weed in some form do not have a set standard for how testing should be done, there's no easy way to find out if the product is safe. Consumers can do the legal work themselves, though, because every legal weed label identified where it was tested. To grow marijuana needs certain conditions, humidity, and a lot of light. As pot becomes legal in more places and more ways, be it medical or recreational, more companies are growing the once secretly harvested plant, usually indoors in a controlled area. The problem with that is humidity and lots of artificial light are not just optimal conditions for growing marijuana, but they also are prime conditions for mold. Some of you may be familiar with mold in the home. On a personal level, one summer I was doing lawn care for a business, and I contracted poison oak, had to come inside and do some cleaning, and there was some mold there. I didn't know what it was at the time. Ended up in the hospital, respiratory conditions interfering with my breathing, and had to get some medicine. Now, I don't mean just scalamine lotion for the poison oak, but I had like a double, triple dose of everything. So be careful. As I mentioned, the Thriller Parade and more Halloween events this weekend. That was here in Lexington Pass. Next one. Woman raped by man in children's playground after being approached by a group in Canterbury. That's England. No less serious, anyway. Lexington police investigating deadly shooting on East 5th Street. That is a residential area. Trump goes silent for 18 minutes in Detroit after Huntington Place microphone goes out. Last I heard, he was dancing for one of his rallies at one location, Pennsylvania, I believe. Former BMF founder and drug kingpin Demetrius Big Meech Flannery sees early prison release, transferred to halfway house. That's Detroit. His halfway house is in Miami. 20,000 people are missing in Baja, California, group says. This is a group that, tracks individuals. Basically, they're not sure the numbers. Anywhere 17,000 to 20,000 people coming in from Mexico to Baja, California. And because they're arriving in various ways, family members are not sure if they're missing, or they don't have a phone, or they got involved with some other person, significant other, got in a relationship, and they have not been able to contact them because they no longer have a current number, various other reasons. But still, anytime you're talking about thousands of people, or 10,000s of people, or any amount of people missing, then it is reason for concern. Deion Sanders has message for President Obama after Colorado's win in Arizona. We'll get back to that one. Ex-sheriff's sergeant allegedly stages suicide and killing a wife who was a lieutenant. Stories. A little bit further on Deion Sanders and Colorado. Deion Sanders laughs last after Barack Obama's jab about Colorado having a couple of good players. The Colorado Buffaloes are a good football team that's handling its first season in the Big 12 fairly well. But just about every football college fan knows that the Buffs have two big-time stars and future NFLers in wide receiver and defensive back Travis Hunter and quarterback Shadir Sanders. Okay, that includes President Barack Obama, who took a jab at the Buffs while campaigning in Tucson ahead of the Colorado-Arizona game Saturday at Arizona Stadium. I know Colorado's got a couple good players, but I also know you guys have beaten them twice in a row, Obama said, playing to the Arizona crowd. So don't bet against the Wildcats tomorrow. Well, after Colorado crushed Arizona 34-7 on Saturday, Buffalo's coach Deion Sanders responded to Obama's remarks about a couple of good players. So I love you, bro. You my man. I know the difference between politics and being involved with people. So here I am and here you are. That's a condescending, but he did mention that he, admires former President Obama. And he's a man, but there's a difference between politics and sports. Moving on, University of Kentucky confirms active shooter alert was false alarm due to technical malfunction. U.S. investigating leak of classified documents on Israel's attack plans. I don't know what that could be about. Solange Knowles reveals she's been suffering from multiple chronic health conditions. I'm sure you're familiar with the name Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister. But this is dated from 2018, and these things that she was dealing with at the time caused her to cancel one appearance in South Africa. And I have never heard of any one of these three diseases before. POTS, and then Georgian, spelled with an S, and then MCAS, capital MCAS. So these affect anything from the autoimmune system. One was was related to her not being able to stand or sit due to a rapid heartbeat. Another one affected her respiratory system, and another one was connected to autoimmunity. So she's, relates that she didn't want her health issues to be identified as herself, so she has taken time to address these, and since 2018 has had positive results, to whom she gives credit to the good folks at Dysautonomy International were an incredible resource for me. Dysautonomia International. So good to see her doing better. And if you ever see any of her shows related to jazz or any other places that she's performed, I'm quite sure you were well entertained. Next, dig a hole straight down 100 feet. Serial rapist found guilty of kidnapping woman, driving her 450 miles to his home, where he held her captive in a makeshift cell as part of Operation Takeover. A federal jury in Oregon convicted a man for kidnapping two women, including one whom he held in a makeshift cell in his garage while his wife and child were in the home. Nagasi Subiru, 30, was found guilty of kidnapping a victim for criminal sexual activity and illegally possessing a firearm and ammunition as a convicted felon, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Oregon said Friday. Authorities say the defendant has gone by several different aliases, and he has lived in at least 10 states over the last 10 years. Next one. Musk says he will award $1 million every day to Pennsylvania voters who sign his petition. Okay. If you say so, I'll believe it when I see it. Two Navy aviators declared dead in Washington jet crash. The Navy on Sunday declared two aviators dead after their jet crashed in Northeast Washington during an October 15th training mission. A search and rescue effort that has been going on since the crash has now shifted to a recovery operation, a Navy official said. The names of the deceased crew members will not be released until 24 hours after their next of kin have been notified, according to the Navy. 3 killed and 8 injured by gunfire following a Mississippi school's football game. This week was homecoming week for most college school-related sports and football. So that occurred in that situation. At least one dead in latest homecoming shooting. One person was killed and several others injured during an incident on the campus of Albany State University Saturday night, the school's interim president said. Back to sports. Dodgers to play Yankees in World Series after beating the Mets to close out the National League Championship Series. Football again. NFL Stadium empties out in second half. An embarrassing scene. New Orleans Saints versus Denver Broncos. Denver for the win, 33-10. It said in all the seasons that one player said he played for Saints for 8 years and has never seen that happen, where sports fans leave during the second half and the stadium is empty. So, football is loud. Louisville had their homecoming game with Miami Saturday. It was 52-48, I believe. It was just go and go and go, but Miami kept the lead. And it was loud, but football is loud. But Miami for the win. Here's something that I had crossed my eyesight previously, and I wanted to get to. Recalls for automobiles and also recalls for food. So if you have a few minutes and you just want to Google recalls for food, that might be to your benefit. This information is current, but not like recent. So let's do these vehicles. Mercedes-Benz, because everybody wants to be safe on the road. And usually you will receive a notice if your vehicle is involved in a recall to tell you to bring it in to have that repair taken care of. Mercedes-Benz, 8,500 2022 vehicles for software error in the rear view camera. Chrysler, 2020 to 2021 Dodge Challenger, Dodge Charger, and Chrysler 300 because the windshield may not have been properly bonded to the vehicle. If you're not familiar, that means if it rains or anything else happens, water's leaking into the passenger section of the vehicle. Usually it's like right by the door on the passenger side or the driver's side. General Motors recalled nearly 10, this I never heard of, LAKH SUVs due to a potentially life-threatening airbag defect in vehicles produced between the 2014 and 2017 model years. Hyundai and Kia recalled more than 281,000 vehicles in the U.S. because of a series of fires involving trailer hitch wiring. Mazda recalled more than 262,000 SUVs and cars in the U.S. to fix a software problem that could cause the engines to stall unexpectedly. Dodge. Many Dodge and Dodge Ram branded vehicles are part of a Takata airbag inflator recall. Toyota and Lexus recalled 2.7 million vehicles due to a faulty Denso fuel pump that can allegedly crack and degrade. Lucid, never heard of this one before, recalled 637 of its Air sedans for model years 2022 and 2023 because their electronic motors can shut down unexpectedly. Which reminds me, I was out and cars are going by, as you know, anytime you're outside. And I looked at the Tesla going by and I noticed that the front part of it is all closed off, you know. I'm used to seeing that open area for cars where you get that air-cooled engine application and so forth and so on. And then I had to rethink because Tesla's electronic, so it doesn't need that air flowing over the engine with an open type grill. So just saying. And coming around the corner on this one, Shaquille O'Neal's son Sharif signs with NBA team. While Shaq is no longer playing in the league, he will now have an opportunity to witness his son on the court as a member of the Sacramento Kings. Before signing with the Kings, Sharif played with the NBA G League Ignite, based out of Las Vegas for the 2022-2023 season. Sharif is 24 years old. Shawnee Henderson shared the news of Sharif's new chapter in the NBA on Instagram to say how proud she is of her son for never giving up. As I said, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024. That's it. Hashtag